lovely Miss Mimi Snow. Many of you may have seen her in the ballet over in New City. She's performing in the ballet at New City. Next to her is Mrs. Edna White. Mrs. White's been working a long time as a cleaning lady. She cleans probably several of the establishments you travel to every day and go in. You clean the bank, don't you, Mrs. White? Yes, and a couple of bakeries, I believe. Yes, she's a hard-working old lady.
Pennies on the floor.
And next to her is Mrs. Oliver Matrimony. We are very pleased to have her with us tonight. You fit us into your busy schedule, I'm sure, and we're happy, delighted to have you here. And next to her is Benny the Knight Brown, and you may have read about Benny in newspapers. Well, he's trying to go a different way than he used to, and cleaned up his act. And
Trying to be reformed.
he's reformed, yes.
Wait, a Catholic?
Is that religiously speaking, or just... Oh, okay. Over here we have the Reverend Pauper. Reverend Pauper, it's nice to have you with us tonight. We want you to eat up, eat hearty. We know you don't have a lot of money to spare. You minister and you're on a low salary. Next to him is, Mr. Fun. Fred U. Nelson, yes. Mr. Fun, a retired circus clown. It's good to see you out tonight, Fred. How you doing?
Good.
Your arthritis isn't kicking up, is it?
No.
Oh, good. And here's the lovely Miss Smalltown, New Jersey. We are really happy to have her here tonight. She can fit us into her busy schedule. And with her is Tap, our road man. How are those roads today? Did you have to work today?
I slept in.
Oh, you slept in late. No road work today. It was a rainy morning. That fog really hampers you. You don't want to get hit by those trucks when you're rolling down the road. And next to Tap is Chef Henri. Nice to have you with us tonight, Chef. We're really sorry about the inconvenience that has been going on at your bakery with this theft that has occurred, but tonight we're going to get that all straightened out, I'm sure. We have some late-breaking evidence that you all want to know, and we all want to find the guilty person, don't we? Mm-hmm. Sure we do. Janie wants to find out because she knows she didn't do it. Here is our ace reporter, Scoop O'Reilly. Scoop's been working for the paper now for about, 6 months? Yeah. And he's the feature food writer. So it's a good thing you can maybe give our cooks a review in your paper. Here we have Old Mac. You guys all know Old Mac, don't you? All the school kids know Old Mac. Sure. What's your motto, Old Mac?
Trash for cash.
That's right.
I mean cash for trash.
And you find lots of things in the trash, don't you?
Now this. Well, my first wife I found in the door.
Thank you.
She's been cleaning up for me ever since.
And next to Mac is Crazy Janie. We'll just call her Janie tonight. We won't call you crazy too much. And you know Janie, she sleeps outside the bakery at night. You've seen her on the street asking for food, anything free, right, Janie?
Right.
All right, well, you eat up tonight. We'll keep you warm here. And here's Professor Van Winkle. Professor Van Winkle, is it true? Professor.
Is he awake? Wake him up.
Your real name is Clyde, I believe. And your friends call you Rip. So which would you prefer we call you?
Professor.
Oh, okay. Professor Van Winkle. Chemistry teacher at the local school. I guess that's everybody. There's one more person coming. Coach Are You Fit will be here later. He had a game today. He was coaching. So he'll be here shortly. And then we'll get started with the festivities.
Are we
But
gonna
first
eat?
We're going to eat.
I'm on the road all day.
I'm going to let Mrs. Evans, could you explain how to do the food? Oh, sure.
We'll line up.
That's okay, you're welcome. What you want? That's it, everybody is doing your own thing. Chris, what do you want to drink? Uh-oh. Oh, you're not getting on?
I want to be spicy. Dude, I would eat what you
Wait a minute. All our defendants are suspects. That must mean our prosecuting attorney, too.
No. No. All of you.
I probably got the best job in the whole world. My job's always picking up. You tell distinguished people. They had a laugh. Hats off to you.
Come up here and read your statement or tell us your statement. If you have it memorized, if you need a copy, I have a copy I will let you use. And then I have a few questions to ask you. I'll call maybe each one, maybe a few at a time. And we have gathered a little bit of evidence that you may not know about. But everything will help us come to the right conclusion, I'm sure, as Reverend Popper prayed that we might clear this whole thing up and be able to put it at rest. We wait a few more minutes for Coach Fitt to come because I really don't want you to miss any of the testimony. While he's not here, let me read. There was one lady who couldn't quite make it tonight. Her name is Cook Rosarita. You know Cook Rosarita, Chef Henri? She's your competition down the street at the Little Italy pastry shop. I'd like to read her statement for you, just for a little background. Hey, it's nice you are all here. Would you like to see? I would like to see you in my Little Italy pastry shop sometime. My cannolis are the best. If people could ever make it past the Good and Earnest bakery, they could taste the difference themselves. Years ago, my grandmama had all the business from Littletown, but Chef Henri came in, and our shop has had to compete for every cinnamon roll since then. I guess I could accept not being the only shop if I felt that Henri cared about his customers or our town. For example, take Reverend Popper. Comes in every Wednesday to collect day-old items for the homeless. I am always happy to give. I mean, day-old stuff is heading for the trash anyway. Might as well head to some poor person's stomach, but Henri, never. And I know from Reverend's mouth myself, Henri never gave a single crumb to anyone who did not pay. The Lord giveth, and the good Lord taketh away. And it's high time he took away from Henri. The man has no heart for anyone but himself. The only thing I remember specifically from Wednesday was talking to Scoop O'Reilly from the paper. He was asking questions about old family recipes and new and unusual recipes that might be noteworthy. I surely wondered what all this was about. Oh well, I hope this whole thing is settled before midnight. She had to go. It was time to make the donuts. Is everyone clear on what the crime was that was committed here? There was a recipe formula that was developed by Chef Henri and his stepbrother, Professor Van Winkle. However, Chef Henri claimed all the credit for himself, and Professor Van Winkle didn't get any of the credit. Well, this formula was special because once you put it on the cake would remain airproof, would never go stale. You could bake a cake today and serve it next week or next month. Put it on your shelf and leave it for a while. So Chef Henri was hoping to get a patent on this icing and make lots of money by selling it to some pastry company.
already has it.
Or using it himself.
Yeah.
You call me, how are you?
How are you? We have a name tag.
I'm fine, how are you?
Have a seat. Join the rest of us. Do you know everyone here?
No.
Well, have a seat, and I'll introduce you in a minute.
He's like a
I'm
hot
finishing
shot.
the stating of the crime here. It occurred sometime between noon on Wednesday, the 23rd, and the next morning at 8 o'clock when the bakery opened, Chef Henri discovered that the formula was indeed missing. Tonight we hope to come to some conclusion find out who the rest of these people are here, all right? We're
Very
going to
close and tense.
proceed
Important
with
things
the,
right now.
proceed with the statements. I'd like to start, why don't we start with the owner of the Good Ernest Bakery?
Boy, does he?
Chef Henri, come on over here and let us hear your statement. Have a seat.
I opened the bakery and good and honest as usual at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. I worked alone until Mimi and Benny arrived at 8 o'clock. At noon, I meet with the lawyer to discuss several pending lawsuits. It seems that lately we have experienced a few unfortunate accidents with vending cakes, mainly due to incompetent caterers, I am sure. The lunch event quite long, and I returned to the bakery at 4. I was surprised to see that Benny was the only one employee on duty. I guess I have forget about vending even early. I have so much on my mind these days. Benny left promptly at 5. He seemed so early to get somewhere. Well, I stayed there until after closing at 6. I did notice that our cleaning lady, Mrs. Something, had come in early to clean the office. I suppose she would come back after she finished closing up. She did have her own key. While closing up, I noticed lazy Janie bending down for the night on the front steps again. What a nuisance. There must be someplace else she could talk herself.
Okay, Chef Henri, stay right there. There are a few things we'd like to clear up. You said you had to meet with your lawyer. Is that true?
Yes.
And what was this you were meeting with your lawyer about?
Incident to the wedding case.
Accidents with your wedding cakes. What kind of accidents had you experienced?
Just minor things.
Minor things? Like, could you give us an example? Nothing comes to mind, huh?
No.
Well, maybe we'll refresh your mind in a little bit. Couple other things. You said that you saw Crazy Janie bedding down for the night out front. You don't like her very much, do you?
Ah, she has a dry drink. No.
What do you usually do when you see her there?
For a while I tried to rid of her, but no, she always comes and stays. I just ignore her now.
You just ignore her. Okay. A few things about your employees, Mimi and Benny, you mentioned. Mimi left early. She left at, you said, after you left the bakery, she left before you came back. Was that unusual?
We just changed her schedule around to meet with some new changes.
And Benny, I understand he's an ex-convict. And
Yes.
he's working for you. Do you trust him?
As much as I begun to do.
As much? Oh, as much as you do.
Dumb dog.
Oh, a dumb dog. Well, thank you for clearing that up for us. Now, Chef Henri, there's one other thing. I was wondering, as I was going over my notes, what might be a motive for you, because you are a suspect along with everyone else. Can you enlighten us on, would you have any reason for stealing this icing recipe yourself?
I'll lose my own money.
It's your own money. Well, the strange thing is that a telegram arrived here tonight for you. I'd like to read it for everyone. From Western Union, top priority. To Chef Henri from the Worldwide Insurance Company. This is to assure you that your professional product insurance did indeed take effect October 23rd, 1991. Stop. Any loss in this regard would net $50,000. Stop. Thank you for your premium payment. Stop. It seems you have a new insurance policy against theft at your store.
Yes.
And that took effect right before this theft occurred. And since you can claim a loss here, you would gain up to $50,000. Is that true? And then you could, if you had the formula in your possession, save it to a later date or use it yourself and market it later. Is that not true?
Yes.
Thank you, Chef Henri. Those are all the questions I have for you right now. Your statement, how could anyone suspect such a lovely young lady?
I went to work at the bakery on Wednesday at 8 a.m. My roommate woke me up at 7:30 because my alarm failed to go off again. On Wednesdays, I only work till 1 p.m. because I perform at the She walks around with her nose in the air. If I could afford it, I would live alone.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mimi. You made some pretty strong statements for a young and small thing. You and your roommate, I take it, don't get along that well? No? Why is that? She thinks she's a what?
She thinks she's
Better than you?
no. Yeah.
And does she feel the same way about you? You don't know.
I don't know.
Another thing, you said ballet is really your career. How many years have you been in the ballet?
8.
8 years. And what ballet are you performing right now?
Swan.
Oh, Swan Lake. And what part do you have? One of the big swans in the lake? Or one of the little swans in the lake?
Big.
Oh, big swan. Okay. Another thing, you said you always eat at your mother's on Wednesday nights. Would you like to tell us, where does your mother live? Isn't it true that she lives over the Little Italy pastry shop?
Yeah.
And what is your mother's name? Don't try to hide it from us, because we went to the Division of Birth Records, and we have your birth certificate here. Is that your name? Mimi Rose Snow?
Yeah.
And is that your birthday, January 9th? And would you read for us the father's name
George R. Snow.
and your mother's name?
Rosarita L. Snow.
Rosarita L. Snow. Isn't that cook Rosarita who owns the Little Italy pastry shop? Isn't that? Yes. She is your mother, isn't she? And wouldn't you have the perfect opportunity to gain some inside information on Chef Henri's business by working there?
John. Hey. Well, I've seen guys like you before. You ain't nothing.
What time, the way up or the way down?
Benny, would you give us your statement?
Yeah, I'm an ex-con, all right. I've been up to the big house. They sold me down the river. I paid my dues. I was arrested for theft. I've done my time. I do my work and mind my own business. You ask the boss, I'll tell you. Nobody bothers me, I don't bother them. I treat people just like they treat me. Take that Pastor Pauper, for instance. He's some nice guy. He stops in here almost every week, asking for donations to serve the homeless people. He always talks to me like I'm real important. He's a smart guy, I'll tell you. But my boss won't give him the time of day. All he says, we don't have nothing left over for those poor people. Ah, I know better than that. So today, when no one else was in, I gave the preacher a couple dozen day-old sticky buns. They would have just gone thrown out anyway. Getting back to Wednesday. The only unusual thing when I was here was Mrs. White. That's the Cleveland lady. Boy, was she in a snoot that day. She was fussing all around. Get out of my way. Leave me alone. Don't mess it up. I'm cleaning up. I'll just do my job. I did have to leave right at 5 p.m. to go meet my probation officer. She and I had dinner that night. I have to check in with her every Wednesday.
Thank you, Benny. You certainly have opened my eyes to a few things. Please stay right there. We have a few more questions for you. A couple of things.
I've heard that before.
Is it true that,
I'll take the fifth.
But you do.
well, we have something we found the other day in your apartment.
Did you have a warrant?
It was outside on the steps. This little book here, got your name in it. Seems to be a record of some accounts.
Women, probably.
September, the dates are 9/6, 9/8, 9/9. R1H6. Somebody down down at the office said maybe that was race number 1, horse number 6. And then there's a W like win. There's some here P, place, or show. There's dollar amounts, and then there's a few winnings and a lot of nothings. A lot of losing here. And at the end it says, I owe Sammy $350. Do you know who Sammy is?
I just keep the book for fun. Don't mean nothing.
Don't mean nothing, okay? All right, well, folks, you consider that. There's one other thing. In your statement, you said, I believe, you had to leave at 5 to meet your probation officer.
That's right.
And you claim you had dinner with your probation officer.
That's right. She's a knockout.
She is a knockout. Oh, Benny, a telegram came for you today, too. Would you read this for us? You can't read it, can't you? Go ahead, read it out loud for all of us.
Be informed that as a result of your dinner with your
No.
Oh, excuse me, I got that wrong. Be informed that as a result of your failure to appear for your weekly probation appointment on Wednesday, October 23rd, you are in danger of violation. Stop. Further violation will mean reincarceration. Stop.
You do know what reincarceration means.
Just see if they can put me away again.
Well, this is from the Federal Probation Bureau, and it says you failed to meet your probation appointment Wednesday. How do you explain that?
Somebody's lying.
That's for sure. Okay. Your reputation does follow you, I'm sorry to say.
Nobody wants to give you a second chance.
Yeah, we'll see.
Lord always gives second chances. Remember that.
There's that nice Reverend Paul.
I clean for several local businesses, but Wednesdays are my easiest days. Suppose I've worked for Chef Henry now for almost 15 years, but he doesn't even know my name. He runs a tight ship, no bonuses or gifts, even at Christmas. I guess times are hard for everyone, but I think he could at least speak to me by name once in a while. Yes, I did clean the Good and Earnest Bakery early on Wednesday, at least the office area. That was because I wanted to catch Mimi's performance at the ballet matinee. She seems so proud of her part in the ballet. She has asked me several times to come and see her perform. I was surprised, though, how small a part she actually has. I think she only appeared in the first act. Yes, that's right. She never was on the stage after the first 15 minutes of the show. I guess with a part that small, it's no wonder she needs to work at the bakery. She can't earn much by her dancing.
Hey, Mrs. White, you've been liking us a little bit on there. You seem like a very loving, kind person. Would you say it's fair to say that you appreciate people and you like taking an interest in them? Is that a fair description? Yeah. You mentioned that you were a little upset because Chef Henri doesn't even know your name. Is that true? He never called you by name? Does that irritate you? Does it make you mad? Make you angry? Makes you want to get even, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, no? But it does make you mad. And if you saw a chance to make him notice you, you might take that chance. Maybe. Okay. Now, you mentioned Mimi's performance of the ballet. She was just here and told us that she had a rather large part, and you seem to contradict that, saying she had a small part. Why was it you thought she had such a small part? You said you didn't see her on the stage after what? 15 minutes. So that means between the time she was on the stage and she had dinner at her mother's, we don't really know what Mimi Snow was up to, do we? We don't know whether she went back to the bakery or whether she stayed at the theater and watched the rest of the show, or we don't know if she went out with Benny. I mean, we don't really know what she was doing. Okay, well, Mrs. White, would you say that you have a large income by cleaning these local businesses? How much would you say you make in a week? $1,000 a week? My goodness, you must clean for some very wealthy people. Well, maybe that would explain what I have here. Are you looking forward to retirement?
Yeah.
Soon?
Yeah.
Like any day you could go, leave it all behind? Do you have enough money to retire right now? Do you? Well, because we found this letter from the Quarryville home. And I understand it's a really nice place to go. It seems to be a nice place to go. But I do know that it does take quite a bit of money to support yourself here. And we have this letter.
Keep your eye on that guy.
Mrs. White, we are pleased to send you this information at the Quarryville home, on the Quarryville home. At present, there are no immediate openings in our facility for residents. However, we will gladly add your name to our waiting list. In order to maintain your place on the waiting list, we must receive a deposit of $1,000 as soon as possible. Looking forward to your reply, Dennis Henry, the treasurer. But you say you have well over that now in the bank. Is that true?
That's an elite.
Really? Well, we just happened to check the bank records. And your bank records show that right now you have a balance of $15.27. Is there some other place you keep this money? Where would that be? In your home. Oh, well, Mrs. White, that's not a very safe thing to do, nor is it a reliable piece of evidence. But thank you for coming and giving us your book. And what have you to say for yourself?
I'm fine, just because I'm a little old. Keep me down. I'm a nice guy. I just want you to know. You all know me. You probably know it's been a hard life. I've worked my way up. I'm doing good. I make a buck here or there. Listen to me. But I'm not rich. Most of my days just filled picking up people's trash. One of my customers is that real nice guy, Chef Cannerai. Foreigner. But he just gets me a little irritated, frustrated, mad, just a little bit. He just dumps all his trash in one container out back, and what a snot. One big container, 2-yard dumpster, he dumps it all in there. It's icing, yeast boxes, and slime, and day-old donuts, cans and bottles, newspapers, and he won't separate. I guess it's above him. Of course, he doesn't talk up to me, he talks down to me. You know, I got a good job, just because I smell a little. Somebody's got to do it. I think if he had to pay extra for his separating everything, I think he'd change his tune in a second. But he's not the kind of man to be reasoned with. Just leave him alone. Now, last Wednesday was no different. I went to the bakery. I had a dumpster on the ground and picked through it like one of those street people. And separate it and then put it into the right cans on the truck. I stuck my head in the back door to, really give him a fist, It was empty. It was like nobody was there. Now, what would people think if I ran my business like that? I mean, it would really stink, wouldn't it? Nobody pick it up. What? So I thought that was a poor way to run a business. Nobody around. Anyhow, one of these days, one of those dumpsters, there'll be a bag of money. Then I'll retire. Until then, every day is just a little picking up. Okay?
There is a few questions for you. A couple
I've spoken to him more times than my wife about little things.
And you can't reason with this man.
Just like a woman.
You seem very laid back and,
Hey, I'm a nice guy. All in the family
this-
used to watch it all the time.
but this does upset you, does it not?
Oh, yeah. Why should I have to do his job?
And you wish you could charge him extra, but you don't charge him extra? Why don't you charge him extra?
I feel sorry for him because he's a father.
And you're such a sweet guy.
I am. I'm a lovable kind of guy.
Anything in the trash that was worth anything?
No.
Would
Threw
you
it right
know
on the
it if
truck.
you found something that was worth anything?
Oh, I know. I know money when I see it. I know things about Jen.
You say someday you'll find real treasure in cash in. You mentioned money. Is there any other things you might find?
Electronic equipment once in a while. Radios, TVs.
How about formulas for recipes?
What does that have to do with math? What's that?
Well, I think, Mac, we can dismiss you now, unless anybody else has a question for Mac. No, they wouldn't dare. I wouldn't either. Thank you, Mac. You can go back to your seat now.
Thank you, dearie.
You're welcome. You're known as Mr. Fun, I understand. Your initials, that's very clever. F-U-N, Fun. And you are a clown.
Yes.
So go ahead and give us your statement.
Well, I used to work for a farm in Bailey Circus for about 35 years. You know, it's nothing like famous and glory and excitement. That was the big top. Finally, I had to retire about 5 years ago. They said I was too old to shout out can anymore. But my wife, Mary, and I live in a little small apartment over the Good and Ernest Bakery. My pension is small, so for extra cash, I do a small clown act for kids' parties. It's not very glamorous, but it's living. On Wednesday, I was around home most of the day. I stopped in the bakery late afternoon. I was surprised to find Benny working alone. Business was rather slow, so I sat and chatted with Benny for a while. Nice guy, even considering his past. I recognized Miss Small, Town, New Jersey, when she came in. She was looking for some pictures of herself. Benny told her to check out the office, but don't mess up anything. Some other lady came in looking for a boss. She seemed under a lot of stress. She shouted out something, saying she's going to take us all to court. They're sure of a lot of strange people around this world today. I hope to catch the thief soon. Mary and I are sure and easy living upstairs from the scene of the crime.
Hi. Fred, you mentioned your wife, Mary, and you both live upstairs. You say your pension is pretty small, so you need to do these clown acts for children's parties. Is that true?
Definitely.
Children's parties can get a little rowdy at times, can't they?
Yeah.
Would you say you enjoy doing the children's parties?
Yeah, it's a living.
It's a living, but it's not as glamorous as it was being shot out of a cannon. If you could, would you rather not do the children's parties?
Definitely.
Definitely. So if you came into a lot of money, all of a sudden, you wouldn't have to do these children's parties.
Oh.
No, you and Mary could retire in luxury, right? Right. You said you saw Miss Smalltown, New Jersey. She's here tonight, and she was looking for pictures of herself. And she went into the office, is that?
Yes.
She went into the office by herself?
Yes.
Okay, so she was in the office by herself, and then you said another lady. Do you recognize the other lady that came in?
I do believe it was me.
The maid? The cleaning lady? Okay. And she was shouting about taking them to court?
Something like that. Yeah.
How good is your eyesight, Mr. Fun?
Oh, I don't know. Pretty good, I guess.
Pretty good. Well, if you were to look at Mrs. Edna White, would you stand up, Mrs. White? And Mrs. Matrimony there. Now look carefully at them. Which of those two, the one on the right or the one on the left, was the one that came in?
Yeah. One on the left.
The one on the left. Oh, okay. Well, your eyesight isn't as good as I thought it was. That's Mrs. Matrimony.
Oh, okay.
We'll hear from her later. But thank you for that information. hope they catch that thief too.
Yeah.
There's a fitness center right next to the bakery. And he and Chef Henri are old friends, aren't you? Coach, do you have your statement for us?
Statement
Yeah.
about that Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
We should have that place labeled the drug-free zone. Because all that sugar is just like drugs. We're addicted to it. Come by donuts, day old sticky buns. You got them for free. You're pretty good. You guys pay for that. You gave away. Oh, that's probably why I saw those other guys throwing them in the garbage after you got done picking on them. Business has been going real nice. Until the bake shop kept its hours open. Forced me to keep my hours. Changed something over there. Disgusting smell permeates through my building. See these people coming back and forth, back and forth. You don't get any thinner. So with that new smell, I had to keep the gym open longer. Wednesday nights now, the bakery's shut, so I can't get to home. Stay there, work out. Read important material. By real men. Not some doughboys. The other night though, I saw Crazy Janie down there, hanging out, testing the doorknob. It wasn't too cold out, so I don't know what she'd be looking for. Just mind my own business. Stay in my gym, work out, pump some tries, some abs, pecs. You like that. So you need some work.
You don't be laughing over there.
Hey, Coach, I have a couple of questions for you. In your statement that you gave the police the other day, you said, and I quote, "That bakery should be history in this town." Is that how you really feel?
Well, it's got a lot of history behind it.
But you just assume it was no longer in existence, isn't that true?
Yeah, Temple of Doom.
Isn't it true, Coach,
Drugs.
that you've been planning to have that bakery out of existence for some time now? Is that true? Well, it so happens that we found these blueprints at a local architecture firm. It says here they're for the RU Fitness Center and Store. Proposed expansion and alterations.
What's that wrong?
116 Main Street, Littletown, New Jersey. And what's the date there?
1991.
Yes, and the month is October and the day.
I
10.
didn't hear that.
October 10th, 1991, and you can see from the plans, this is what Coach owns now, and this is the present bakery location, and he has that changed into a fitness center in the front, and then a little apartment for himself in the back. And what's a fitness center now will be a health food store and a health bar with a little kitchenette
Just doing one
there,
pumping iron, huh, buddy?
serving meals. Seems to me.
Yeah, good nutrition in this town is what they need instead of all these donuts and
Ah,
pastries.
I think I'm on top. Ah.
Hey, you're gonna live in the United States, learn how to speak English.
Well, Coach, it just seems to me that these seem to be some rather concrete plans you have here. Is this just like a dream or something to do in your spare time?
I'm an American, and every American has a dream.
And this is your dream?
That's my dream.
Well, thank you, Coach. Let me fulfill your dream. Next, we have Janie. a statement for us?
Yes, I do.
All right, go right ahead.
I like the bakery steps. I get lots of sun and it smells good too. I don't like Mr. Chef Henri. He's always trying to chase me away. Well, this is America. It's a free country, and I like anything that's free. I see people coming and going all day long. Some are nice, some ain't. Wednesday was the day that the uppity lady came in all dressed up and even wearing a crown. You'd think it was the Queen of England instead of some puny beauty contest. She might be pretty, but she didn't have very good manners. She seemed to be angry at Mr. Chef Henri for standing her up. I guess they had a date planned or something. Hey, maybe she and I should team up and teach Mr. Henri how to treat a lady. They could call us Beauty and the Beast, but that uppity lady probably would not want to be near the Beast.
Janie, way to talk. That's the most you've said all night. I'm proud of you. We're happy to have you here. And you said you like America. This is a free country, and you like anything that's free.
Yep.
What are some things you get for free?
Well, sometimes I get food, but not very often. We
So,
don't get anything free, yeah.
you have a free living space, though, correct?
Yeah.
Where is that?
Trash can.
Oh, a trash can. Is that near the bakery?
Yeah, right next to it.
And even though Chef Henri has chased you away, and asked you not to come around nicely, you still come around.
I need a place to sleep.
And you were going to team up with this uppity lady. Now, where's this uppity lady? Is she here tonight?
I think,
Which one would she be? Do you know?
I think it's that one.
I think you're probably right. Miss Small Town News.
Yeah, her.
And you would be called Beauty and the Beast, and you think she would be called Beast.
Yeah. She's not.
Well, don't hide your feelings. And you're going to teach Mr. Henry how to treat a lady.
Yeah.
How should ladies be treated?
With respect. He doesn't respect me.
Okay, thank you. Benny, this is your friend.
I feel my heart heavy within me because of the reason we are all gathered here tonight. I tried to do all that I could do to be light in our little town. And yet things like this continue to happen. Imagine a theft right in our own bakery. All the more proof that we need to keep spreading the good news. I was indeed at the Good and Earnest Bakery on Wednesday, as always. That is my day to ask for donations from local establishments for feeding of the needy. Not that Chef Henri ever contributed, because he never did. But I believe in persistence. The only thing different about this Wednesday was that Henri was not there. Only Benny. I will not call him by the rest of his name. And Benny was certainly in a good mood. Usually he seems to be on the depressed side, but not this week. His spirits were unusually high. And he did give me some day-old rye bread from the homeless. 3 loaves of it. Wish I could donate myself, but on my salary, I barely get by myself. No pennies left over for anything else. At least I can do my part by collecting. Someday I plan to do much more.
Hi, Reverend Popper. You admit to being in the bakery on Wednesday,
Of course, you get that from Wednesday to collect.
and this time you hit the jackpot.
Yes, I actually got something.
Well, good for you. We're glad to hear that.
He's a good man.
Yes, you and Reverend Popper seem to both have a mutual admiration for each other. How long have you known them?
I met him the first day he was working at the bakery.
Right, and you spend time talking with him, and
Every Wednesday.
you learn from him, and he learns from you.
Yeah.
Has he taught you anything interesting?
Well, he has told me about how people in the prisons acting when he was there, and I do believe that we should be taking the good news to the prison.
Take him to the prison. Maybe you could go in person and spend some time there.
So, yeah.
You mentioned that you have a very low salary.
Yes, but I get by.
You get by. Are you happy with that salary?
I'm happy just as long as I'm doing the Lord's work.
Are you happy just getting by? Is that enough for you?
That's enough.
Do you have a wife and family?
Yeah.
And it's enough for them to just get by?
No, girls are always picky. They always want something. Money, money, money.
So does your wife like henpeck you a lot?
Not her, daughter.
Oh, the daughter? And does that make you anxious about money?
Me? Nah.
said was someday I plan to do much more. What did you mean by that?
Well, I do plan to get another job sometime. Still spreading the good news as always, but I plan to get another job.
Get another job, other than being a minister or in
Yes.
addition to?
In addition to, I'll mainly just do maybe sermons for chapels at small Christian schools.
Oh,
That's what I went to when I was a kid.
right, I see. So another job. You could probably be observing people and be in training for some other job right now, couldn't you?
Yes, but I'm still very busy going around doing my work.
But you observed Benny and you talked to him about his former occupation. I see.
And my brother's occupation. We speak about things that he thinks should be done in the prison, and I speak to him about the gospel and things that are happening around town.
Oh, I see. You don't talk about ways to steal things or who you would contact once you
I
get
am a
stolen.
man of the Lord. Why would I steal things?
I object.
Okay, well, Reverend Popper, I think you've made your point very clearly. It seems to be a little brochure, a tract of some kind. Do you give these out frequently? Yeah. Is this one that you might have given out? Or dropped?
Yes, this looks like that.
Good. Mrs. White, did you see this in the office when you were cleaning? No, you didn't. Oh. Well, it appeared sometime after she cleaned, and do you have any way of knowing how that would have gotten in there?
No, I don't not travel around unless it was somebody that I gave one to.
Oh, you might have given it to. Did you give it to any of these other people here?
Yeah, her. I gave one to her.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Scoop O'Reilly here, feature reporter for the Small Town Daily. This is my first job since graduating from college last May. My wife and I are expecting our first child in December. I knew you would say that. I'm looking for a big story so the boss will give me that raise I deserve. Actually, a great story will be a minor miracle since I've been assigned to the food and cooking section of the paper. Right now I'm working on an article featuring area bakers and chefs. I interviewed Chef Henry last week. He is so smug. He hinted at some great new confectionery discovery, but wouldn't give me any details. Said to see him again this week. Now I hear about this theft, and I think I know what he was talking about. Of course, I also interviewed Rosarita from the Little Italy Bakery. Boy, I didn't realize how competitive chefs can be. She questioned me for a solid hour about Chef Henry and his new discovery. Actually, I didn't think she knew a lot more about it than I did.
Okay, Scoop. You say you're looking for a big story, so you'll get a raise?
Yeah.
You really need that raise, don't you? Living in a trailer, you and your wife, out at Tips Trailer Park. Yeah. Not a very nice place to bring a child into the world, is it? No. And if you got a big raise, that would really put you on easy street, wouldn't it? All you need is one big story. It's kind of hard to find in the food and cooking section, isn't it? But when you talked to Chef Henry the other day and he hinted at some new discovery, did that trigger something in your brain? Yeah, that might be a big story, huh? Especially if the discovery was turned into a theft, then you could maybe convince your boss that you ought to be transferred from food and cooking to the crime division of the paper, you know? Yeah? Sure. Oh, that would be a great story, and you would have dug it up yourself. Now, you did mention one other thing about Cook Rosarita, that she seemed to know about Chef Henry's discovery. What kind of questions was she asking you?
I forget.
It sounded like she knew about the discovery. Did she know that it was icing? Did you get that impression?
No.
No. Did you know that Mimi Snow was her daughter? No, she didn't mention that. And you didn't see any pictures in her home. We mentioned before that you're living at Tips Trailer Park.
Yeah.
But you do have expectations of moving, don't you? Farmers and Merchants Bank, Home Mortgage Department. Scoop O'Reilly, we have not received the balance due of $5,000 on your new home down payment. Unless received by Monday, October 28, 1991, all transactions will be null and void with a non-refundable fee of $2,000. You've already paid them $2,000. It was our understanding that the payment would be readily available. Please advise as soon as possible. Where were you going to get $5,000? By Monday.
For my raise?
From your raise. You're really expecting this to be a great story, aren't you? Well, that certainly puts a new light on you, Scoop. Okay.
Slow down. That chair gets them all, doesn't it? He's used to sitting down, looks like.
All they do all day in this truck.
Won't break
I'm not
again.
quite sure what point there is in my being here tonight. I make an honest living doing road work. Been working on a stretch of that road that runs by the bakery for the past 3 weeks. Rain or shine, I'm outside doing my job. Last Wednesday was unusual in only 2 weeks. First of all, it rained for so long and the temperature dropped so low that I couldn't keep warm. That was unusual for me, as I'm very warm-blooded. But by afternoon, I had a great need for a cup of coffee, and my thermos was empty. I had to knock on the door of the bakery and pay for this cup of blackest coffee I'd ever tasted. That brings me to the other unique thing about Wednesday. While I was working on a pavement, this bad-looking babe walked by. Just went right to the bakery. She didn't even look at me. I don't know what her name was, but she snuck up. But just from her looks, I had a feeling it was going to take a small fortune to win her attention. Seemed like my bet, so I will. That's pretty much all I could think about as I drank my coffee that afternoon.
Yeah, you were really taken by that young lady, weren't you?
Sorry.
Is she here tonight? Did you point her out to us?
There she is.
It really was Janie, huh? She took your
No,
attention.
that was a joke.
Oh.
I think it was that one.
Miss Small Town, New Jersey, yes, she would catch one's eye, especially if she was wearing her crown.
People her attitude coming.
And it would
So I
take
went
a
out with
fortune.
Jamie instead.
Secret is out. Okay, Pat, thank you so much.
Nah.
Even if I say so myself, I was looking pretty fresh the day I stopped in at the Good and Earnest Bakery for my appointment with Chef Henry. We were planning to look through the proofs of me that had been taken for the bakery's ad campaign. I wasn't going to let them feature just any photograph. Only the best of the best would be good enough for me, this small town. After all, I did win the pageant because of my good looks, and that is how I was chosen for the ad campaign. Well, I suppose it helped a little that my roommate Mimi worked at the bakery. But I wouldn't have been chosen. I would have been chosen eventually anyway.
All right, you guys, control yourself.
Rob, go to those legs.
I told Mimi that, why tell someone thank you when she did what anyone should do for me? Mimi is lucky to have me for a roommate, right?
Check out the Rolex.
Anyway, when I arrived on Wednesday the 23rd, I was a bit late for my appointment. Couldn't go looking less than perfect, could I? I figured Chef Henry would wait for me. He has been trying to ask me out for weeks now. I thought he would at least wait 25 minutes, but no. He was not in his office when I arrived. I sat there a while. What a dive. Nothing to do. Just sit there and stare at 4 walls and a desk and a file cabinet. Not even anyone to admire me. After I left about 10 minutes, the world was waiting. A $500 bakery advertisement wasn't going to take me that places I wanted to go.
you mentioned a couple things here. You said you waited in the office for about 10 minutes. Is that true? Was anyone else in there with you? You were by yourself, huh? You mentioned the desk and the file cabinets. Did you happen to browse over the desk or the file cabinet?
No, why would I do that?
I don't know. You didn't have anything else to do, and you seemed like you sounded bored. I thought maybe you might have seen something on the desk that caught your eye. Some pictures of yourself or a formula for special icing. You didn't see any of those things. I noticed that you're not wearing your crown tonight. Is there a reason for that? Where is your crown? Is it? Well, it just so happens. You found this crown inside the filing cabinet. Chef Henri's. And our lab discovered traces of icing.
Uh-oh.
Yes. You won't look at all.
You hungry, Jay?
What kind of icing?
Do you have any explanations for us? No. Is this your crown?
Yes.
It was found inside the filing cabinet. How would it have gotten inside the filing cabinet? No idea. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Maldonado. Press 1.5.
I wish I never had to say the name of this good and earnest bakery ever again. It has been a jinx on me and my family ever since we ordered my wedding cake last year. I had planned a wedding that any woman would have loved to have. Every detail was taken care of, down to the details on the bride and groom's faces on the wedding cake ornament. I chose this so-called bakery because of their ability to personalize a wedding cake. If I had known that they had no ability to keep a cake together, I would have gladly chosen some traditional cake from some worthy bakery. Live and learn, they say, and now I believe it. I feel myself losing control of my emotions even now, as I recall the disaster of my wedding reception. Just as Oliver and I were slicing the wedding knife into the cake, 4 layers began to slide. Before we could do anything, the whole layer of vanilla cream bridal cake was lying at my feet and on my wedding slippers. The marriage had been falling apart ever since. I presented the details of the reception to Chef Henry when we returned from our honeymoon. Oliver felt it only right that the bakery be held responsible. Henry didn't even apologize, let alone suggest financial restitution. He had an attitude of, I have my payment, and you got your cake. Well, he's getting more than my payment. He's being sued by Mr. and Mrs. Oliver Matrimony. $10,000 seems only fair for all the emotional stress we suffered. Of course, when I stopped in on Wednesday afternoon to present the chef with his lawsuit paper, he was nowhere to be found. The bakery hand was behind the counter, and some clown hanging around the shop. That's what the good and earnest bakery is, a real joke. I left the lawsuit papers on the desk, and I left. Next time, I'll see them in court.
Well, I'm glad you composed yourself by the end of that. You use words like jinx and disaster and tragedy. You really feel strongly about this. Now, was it that bad?
Yes.
What effect has it had on you since then?
Well, our marriage falling apart.
Your marriage is falling apart? You told me at dinner that you actually shot your husband the other day? Oh, that is sad.
Where?
And you're suing the bakery for $10,000, is that true? And now that you've shot your husband, I guess you'll get that all yourself. Well, we wish you luck, Mrs. Matrimony, and I'm sorry again that we had to put you through this ordeal. You may go back. You may not have known this. This is Chef Henri's stepbrother. They are related. They have the same mother, I believe. And Professor, would you read your statement for us?
This is not my kind of place to be. I keep to myself and my studies in chemistry. Science is a might kinder world for me. You would feel this way too if Chef Henry was your stepbrother. I gave him the original idea for the icing recipe. fact, I came up with the necessary chemical ingredients to keep the icing airproof. But I wasn't asked to share in the profits for the bakery or the recipe. Didn't even get to see the final formula. The day in question, I did stop into the bakery to tell my stepbrother Henry I was going to insist on a share of the profit. Although he has never listened to me before, of course he barely spared 3 minutes of his time. He was so anxious to get something. Left me standing there. So much for my standing up for myself. I'm better off sticking with my studies.
Okay. Professor Van Winkle, you sound almost like you resigned yourself to the fact that you're not going to pursue this any farther. Is that true?
No.
But did you feel that you deserved some credit in this formula?
I believe my name should at least go in there.
And you said you didn't see the final formula, but you did come up with the necessary chemical ingredient to keep the icing airproof.
That's right.
Could you tell us what that chemical ingredient was?
Yeah, I do have to ask him. I handed the formula over to him. And he has possession of it.
He has possession of it, and you've just relinquished all your rights. Is that true? Well, Professor Van Winkle, we got a telegram for you today, too.
Man, must be busy.
They were very busy. This is from the United States Patent Office in Washington. Seems that you had written to them. It says this is to advise you that the patent you requested is in process. Stop. Supply balance of information to complete. Stop. Would appear that you have already started patent proceedings on some formula or something. Is there something you've applied for a patent for?
Yes, I've been working on a project in my basement, and I finally finished it this year.
Oh, and what is this project?
Well, at the moment it's not finished, but when it is finished, I'll be able to show you.
You're not going to tell us then what it is. Could it not be the icing formula? And you just haven't come up with the correct formula yet. But that is a possibility for all we know if you're not willing to tell us what your project is. Okay, Professor Van Winkle, we won't push you any harder on that. All right.
There goes that snob.
There goes the snob. She'll never know if she was guilty. All right, let's have dessert and talk amongst yourselves and see if you can. Has anyone figured out who it is yet? Who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? You think it's Miss Smalltown?
Yes.
How many people think it's Miss Smalltown? Just those boys. Who do you think it is?
Right.
Here's Mr. Musclebound over here. He must have canned his shop. Stop it, huh?
Okay. Anybody else have any ideas? Who it might be? Chef Henri, who do you think it is? This is your bakery. They've all been bad-mouthing you. Don't you want to choose somebody?
No.
You have understood all the English, though, that we've spoken. Okay.
Could be the owner of the Italian pastry shop,
It could be Rosarita.
for she's not coming tonight.
That's
Where's
true.
all that?
But she was
It's
always
not-
nice to you.
It's not her fault she's in Atlantic City.
She's in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Oh, they're right.
Yes, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Well, come on over and let's have some dessert.
Oh, wait, day old bread.
You need clothes.
People on the street don't go out and shoot people unless they're in the movie.
At least I didn't shoot anyone.
How about old Matt?
He's dead. Just had a trouble with car.
Bleeding.
You disturbed.
No, lack of oxygen, she airproofed it.
Benny, who do you think did it? You know the criminal.
Grandma said you want to see this right away. She's never seen so much money in her life. She said you want to open this right away. Yeah.
I want you down.
You got there half.
Is there a new nose?
$10,000? $10,000? Oh my goodness. From Pepperidge Farm? Prototype department?
You need a knife to open that with?
Benny's got his. The watch it may stick you.
Oh, handle with care.
What is it? No, what is it?
We must know.
Billy
David.
Oh,
What?
Pepperidge Farm foolproof, airproof icing. Airproof your cake today, eat it next year. This can is a prototype of the first batch run. Please test and send your approval as soon as possible. And a check from them for $10,000. Why, Mr. Fun, can you explain this?
Mr. Fun. She made me
party.
Yes, tell me.
She made me?
Yeah, this is a setup.
Then you admit it. You stole the icing and
Still getting no
sold
laughs,
it
huh?
to Pepperidge Farm for $10,000.
Hey, at least I made money.
Ta-da! Clap for it.
Well, so could have been anybody.
Oh, okay. It's icing.
It could have been anybody then. So you just picked someone.
I thought it was me.
How many thought it was themselves besides David? Anybody else think it was them? Did you think it was you? Debbie, did you think it was you?
50 grand and use it later. See, I went through my thing at first. It said I lived way above it. I thought maybe.
My last phrase.
But she lived outside, so.
Mimi, did you think it might have been you?
You were asking us about who we thought it was. I was about to say myself.
Really? You thought it might be you?
Well, West Free says someday I plan to do much more.
She what?
This,
$1,000 a week cleaning houses.
yeah, $1,000 a week.
But she only has $15 in her bank account.
That's
Where
just
she
in a mattress.
What do you teach it at home?
Just like her mother.
I don't know if I can cash this check.
What?
She goes shopping every day.
Right through the fingers. I hope you had a good time.
Shouldn't read this out in one check.
Thank you, Mrs. Mixner. and
Yeah, but
Mrs.
you could count it.
Dennis.
That's not your name.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs.
You
Evans.
can't